So next, what I have is we have a Project Veritas video. I don't know if I want to show you that first or if I want to show you the hate speech question or the question that, okay, so Jen Psaki, she got a question about President Trump getting kicked off Twitter, and this is what she has to say about it. Play clip 2.
Considered.
This may be hard to believe. We don't spend a lot of time talking about or thinking about President Trump here. Former President Trump, to be very clear. I can't say we miss him on Twitter.
Does President Biden support the continuing ban of President Trump on their sites?
I think that's a decision made by Twitter. We've certainly spoken to, and he's spoken to, the need for social media platforms to continue to take steps to reduce hate speech, but we don't have more for you on it than that.
So first and foremost, I don't actually really know if there is any hate speech that came from Donald Trump's account. Now, there's things challenging election results, and apparently that's what he got kicked off for. We're not really sure at this point. I think it's mostly politics, the reason in which he got kicked off for. And then she kind of dodges the question, oh, well, they can do whatever they want, but President Biden's talked a lot about doing this and making sure we cut back on hate speech. So I can actually see in the future some sort of legislation that they try to propose restricting speech, and it's going to be classifying hate speech. Once you classify or codify hate speech, it's really up to the interpreter. It's very subjective, just as the incitement of violence that everybody refers to in the Capitol building. Everyone refers to it as an incitement of violence, but I don't see any criminal charges being pushed against Donald Trump. He's now a civilian, so if you want to, you can go ahead with those criminal charges. I don't see them being pushed because they know that there's not a real incitement of violence, and they know when they go and play the video, which they have not done to the public, that there is not an incitement of violence there when he calls for people to peacefully protest and peacefully let their voices be heard. Twitter actually referred to the term American Patriots itself, because he says it in the speech, as inciting violence. So it's very subjective. This whole thing's very subjective. The idea of hate speech is subjective to the point where the government can codify and regulate it to the extent where you are now unable to talk about specific topics without getting either fined or thrown in prison. So that's why it's a very slippery slope on the freedom of speech end, and it seems like I said before, Democrats do not care. People that are liberals right now, they are watching everything transpire, and they're saying nothing. They're silent. They were so obsessed with, they really have that level 12 Trump derangement syndrome, and I used to hear other conservatives talk about it. I wasn't on social media, so I didn't really know. I was like, yeah, okay. I mean, how many people really hate him to that extent where they're willing to just watch people get laid off from their jobs, get their rights taken away from them? They're okay with giving their rights to the government just to get rid of Donald Trump. Like, I didn't really actually, me personally, I didn't believe that. I didn't think that was an actual real thing. But it's true. At this point, I've posted many things. Others have posted many things about the pipeline jobs, about First Amendment. They're talking about Second Amendment things. A lot of instances where the campaign is now, or now the president is pushing things that are not from his campaign, and he said he wouldn't do. Now he's going ahead and he's doing those things. He's pretty much failing on his campaign promises, and it seems like there is absolutely no dissent from the liberals out there. They're just happy not to see Donald Trump in there because a couple of the tweets hurt their feelings, and a couple of the things he said may have hurt their feelings. But in terms of policy, he was highly effective. The deregulation, a lot of economic policies, which I guess people don't really care about money being in their pocket. They'd rather have their money taken from them, from the government, and confiscated, just because the guy that's in the presidential position to them seems like a better fit because he's a career politician. This is the party that they always talk about, oh, well, government this, government that, politicians, and then they go and they vote the bona fide embodiment of a politician. The dude's been in government for 47 years. He has not done much. He's always been known as the dumb guy that's in Congress. And now he's your president because that's the guy that you voted. You voted for the idiotic machine politician after complaining about how much you hate the establishment. Or you claim to hate the establishment, but secretly you really love the establishment. It's as long as your person's in power because you don't have values, you don't have principles, you only care about whoever's in the power, whoever's at the top of the spectrum of power, then you're happy, then it's okay because you believe in political deities. You don't actually have any type of beliefs or principles that you hold. So next, what I have Facebook. It is Project Veritas on the case once again. So they infiltrated a Facebook video conference call. So you got Zuckerberg, and then you have Nick Clegg, who is the head of global affairs, as well as the vice president of integrity, Guy Rosen. So it sounds like a bunch of wasteful positions. But I'm going to play that one. It's about a minute long, minute and a half. Play clip 6.
In his first day, President Biden already issued a number of executive orders on areas that we as a company really care quite deeply about.
But there has been quite a lot of disquiet expressed by many leaders around the world, from the president of Mexico to Alexander Navalny in Russia, and Chancellor Angela Merkel, and others saying, well, this shows that private companies have got too much power and they should be only making these decisions in a way that is framed by democratically agreed rules. We agree with that. We agree with that. Mark, can be very clear about that ideally we wouldn't be taking these decisions on our own. We would be taking these decisions in line with and in conformity with democratically agreed rules and principles. And at the moment, those democratically agreed rules don't exist. We still have to take decisions in real time.
We have a system that is able to freeze commenting on threads in cases where our systems are detecting that there may be a thread that has hate speech or violence sort of in the comments. These are all things we've built over the past 3-4 years as part of our investments into the integrity space, or efforts to protect elections.
That these were all important and positive steps, and I am looking forward to opportunities where Facebook is going to be able to work together with this new administration on some of their top priorities, starting with the COVID response.
So pretty much, first, I just want to point out how ironic it is that the British guy with the British accent is talking about democratically elected or democratically voted on restrictions of speech, which is not, that's not possible. It's nonsensical. We have a republic, constitutional republic, that bestows rights from our creator upon us, not by the government. So the First Amendment really is not, there's no, you can't sit there, we're not going to play games with it. It's not really, it's non-negotiable. The idea of some sort of restriction on speech is non-negotiable, and he's already saying, well, there's no government's put this in place, so now we're taking it upon ourselves to do it because the government has. It's like they're sitting there asking, and then before all of that, you got Zuckerberg talking about executive orders, and it's things that we really, really care about as a company because we care so much about speech and this and that, and then at the very end, oh, we look forward to working with this administration. So we have the Biden administration acting like they have nothing to do with Facebook or Twitter or any of these companies, like they're at an arm's distance. But realistically, they're at an arm's distance. They're right there in their pocket for any time that they need them to crack down on speech from conservatives. It's just hilarious. And then this video comes out and makes them look like a bunch of clowns. And there's nothing they can do about it because there's insiders at Facebook that obviously do not feel the same way and feel like the First Amendment is something to be cherished. And it's just hilarious, and it's so it really is hypocrisy coming from them.